has been quite mild lately, but some days it got up to about 8 degrees Celsius. The snow is melting, so that's a nice change. I've still been going for my walks outside. I was seriously thinking about making an ASMR video where I would shoot video of myself walking outside while whispering, but I figured that would be too windy and noisy, and I think the people on the street might look at me funny, and I'm a little shy, so I decided not to do that. I had a job interview. It went well. I got the job. This is a new job. The job is for the front desk attendant at a resort. Yeah. So, I'm so glad that the job hunt is over. All that stress and worrying about how I will perform in job interviews, I won't have to deal with that for a long time. I've been unemployed for over a year now, actually. So, it was beginning to feel like I would never start working again. I'm a little anxious about starting the new job, though. I hope I can perform well at the job. I'm sure there will be a lot for me to learn. I was offered a job about 3 weeks ago. I talked about this in one of my previous videos. So this is a different job than the one I just told you about. But I still haven't started that job for some reason. My boss just hasn't said when I'm supposed to start working yet. So I'd like to talk about some time that I spent in China. I was teaching English in China for about 2 years. It started March 2018, or around that time. I just applied for the job online. There were job postings online that were very similar to the ones you'd find in the UK, Canada, US, etc. Before you know it, I was speaking to a guy who could speak English, who worked for the company that I was applying for. I ended up getting a job. I needed a C visa for China after that. For those who don't know what a C visa is, or a visa is, should I say, I would call it a page in your passport that allows you to travel or work or maybe study in a different country. That's really all I know about visas. So, to get the visa, I needed to get about 10 documents. I needed to get a physical exam, documents from that, the results, my fingerprints taken. I needed to get my university degree authenticated, and much more stuff like that. I feel like getting this documents together was a big accomplishment for me. The school provided me with an apartment, so I got free rent. I had to pay for the utilities though. The kids were really bad at times, misbehaving a lot. It was could be stressful sometimes teaching. Yeah. The salary was about $2,300 Canadian per month. I got paid in Chinese currency, Chinese renminbi, but yeah, I signed a year-long work contract. It was a rewarding job at times, though. Seeing the students do well on tests. So the school I was working for was a bit sketchy, unfortunately. We did demos. So a demo is when a parent would come to the school with his or her child that was not one of our students. We would do a short class with that parent's child as a student in the class. So basically the parents would watch as we taught their children, and sometimes the parents would like what they saw and would enroll their student into the school. If they enrolled their student into the school, the teacher who taught the class would receive some commission for that. The contract I signed with the school said we were supposed to receive that commission at certain dates. Well, those certain dates passed, and we didn't receive any money. So, but a teacher that I worked with, who was pretty brave, complained about that to the bosses of the school, and they paid us our commission. Also, one day they put a document in front of me and asked me to sign it. Well, the document said that I would be making less money than the salary I was getting. I was freaking out about that. I talked to the guy that hired me. He actually worked for a different school, but it was the same chain of schools, if that makes sense. I talked to him about it, and he said it was just some document that needed to be signed and I wouldn't make any less money. Luckily, I didn't end up getting paid less money. A teacher that I worked with said that the work contract mostly protected the bosses of the school, not the teachers, unfortunately. Another thing is that they had me working at a kindergarten, which was not the main school that I was working at, for a couple hours per week. So the kindergarten was paying them for that. One of the things about the work visa is that you're only supposed to work at one school. Since I was working at two schools, and I was breaking the law, so the situation got ugly. I remember making some threats to my boss. I told them that I was going to quit if they didn't give me money for certain things. I had been making threats about the Chinese lessons because they were supposed to give me Chinese or Mandarin lessons. But they didn't for a long time. Other than the work though, I was living in a city that had very few foreigners. So I turned heads when I walked down the street. The Chinese people were looking at me all the time because most of them probably had not seen a foreigner before in their city. I got some special treatment for being a foreigner. For instance, I could go to certain bars and nightclubs and in the city, and I would get free drinks. I think you get free drinks because you are an attraction at the bar. As crazy as that sounds, the Chinese people want to go to bars or some of them do at least, to make friends with foreigners, or maybe to find a foreigner boyfriend or girlfriend. I made friends with some African guys who were studying in the city that I lived in. In my free time, I binged YouTube videos, of course, as usual. By the way, I had to get a VPN, or a virtual private network, for that. One of the things VPNs can do for you is it lets you access some websites that are blocked in China. Facebook, Instagram, Google, YouTube are all blocked, but you can access them if you have a VPN. I'm just going to see how much I have here. I also went for walks and studied Chinese or Mandarin in my free time. My Chinese is very poor though. I like the food a lot. One of my favorites was cold noodles. The noodles weren't really cold. They were room temperature, but they were called cold noodles. The noodles were very spicy and oily, and they were awesome. I also liked hot pot a lot. At a hot pot restaurant, you would sit at a table that had a built-in deep fryer in the middle of the table. They would bring a bowl of oil to your table. The oil was always flavored, and you can order it spicy or not spicy. And you would order a bunch of raw food, meats and vegetables. And you would go to a station and get yourself a little bowl and fill it up with oil. And you could put salt, chili peppers, coriander, I think, into your bowl. And you would make it how you liked it. There were more ingredients than that. I just can't remember what they were. So the big bowl at your table, full of oil, would get hot, of course, because it's a deep fryer. Now, there are some foods that take a while to cook in the oil, like potato slices. So you would put a full plate of potato slices, for instance, in the oil to cook. Other foods like finely sliced meats would cook very quickly. So you would take out your chopsticks and grab some meat and place it in the hot oil, and it would cook in like 20 seconds. So you would take foods out of the deep fryer with chopsticks and dunk them into your little bowl of oil. Then you would eat them, and it was delicious. It was especially good with some beer. I had a girlfriend in China, a Chinese girl. The relationship lasted about 4 months only. In the summers it got hot, up to 40 degrees Celsius sometimes. Super hot. And in the winter it dropped down to about 2 degrees Celsius. I was living in the Sichuan province in China. I would say it's in the central China. Overall, I'm happy that I did go to China. I could tell you a lot more about China, or at least more about China, but the video would be too long. So maybe another time. That's all for now. Okay, bye. Thanks for watching.